This is Krill here again. I'm just gonna go over the turn 77 for PB15. Not a it's not a huge turn. I've actually spent most of this turn just thinking about what to do and doing a few moves because it's not a major turn to really go over and to discuss. Um, there's only a few small changes to what's happened that don't affect again how I'm going to play this turn out. Thoth's borders expanded at Flub. Novice has settled a new city and hooked up some sheep in such a way that there's only now like one viable city location, and that's only really mine to settle, which is one of these two tiles to split off the sugar as food, potentially try and fight for floodplain as well. So Novice's moves clarified what I can do. I'm not likely to settle either of these because I think Rejidonga needs the sugar tile to work some workshops in the future, although that might not necessarily be so. So potentially I could settle a city over here and get some culture in to invalidate one of these city locations near Thorfinn. But I don't think I'm going to settle it. I don't want to be too aggressive with Thoth, and I think settling on the Forestal definitely would be. This one is probably okay. I could always start being a bit stupid with Novice and threatening his workers, but I'm only threatening because he can move them back. They've already pastured the sheep. If he's got a spear here, there's nothing I can do to even threaten him, and it's very likely that he's got a spear. He's been moving a few units out of Miller as well. Not a spear, he's kept both spears in Miller, but he's moved out, I think, an archer and a warrior, so he could upgrade a warrior or something. The Novice has moved an archer onto a hill. He's trying to pillage this hamlet. I've already pillaged it down to a cottage this turn, and I'm going to pillage it again next turn. The archer can't get onto that forest and pillage it before I can pillage it. There's nothing much else around for new. I've moved a warrior near to Scooter. I can see Scooter's border over here. There is third ring, first, second, third ring from his capital. So I won't meet them next turn. I won't meet him next turn, but I'll meet him the turn after that. And because the warrior's on a hill, I can easily see if it's safe to move anywhere in case barbs turn up. So there's nothing special there. Anyway, most of this turn's really simple to play through because, as I said, there's nothing's changed. There's a spear that I can move and a chariot that I'm going to use to cover City 5, but the settler that's being built, and got the resets not for City 5, that's for City 7 and 8. It's the settler in Here Tomorrow Big. It's going to be going over there. So these units can still hang out for a few more turns where they are on the road network to cover more space. So they're just staying where they are. I've moved the workers to one worker from the cottage to the pig roaded. The worker on the pigs moved to the forest. Worker on the hills roaded. Again, no changes to micromanagement there. I've now got a warrior and chariot that are basically free to do whatever they want to do. I've effectively got 3 chariots in this area that are just hanging out. So I've got like 4 chariots that are just sitting in my culture, not doing anything, and I'm paying gold for. That's arguably not a good thing to do, but as you can tell, earlier in the game I needed them to deal with barbs, so they aren't really wasted. This warrior I can use as a sentry. I could keep it in my land to upgrade. I'm actually going to send this one down. I'm going to move it onto the pig, I think. Yeah, I'll move it onto the pig. The warrior in this city, I'm going to leave in place this turn. Next turn that road will be finished and I can move it down here to cover City 7 or City 8 location. Probably City 8 just and act as a sentry. I do need to move some of these chariots down. I'm actually going to move down the promoted one to cover some of this land as well. Because that chariot next turn can end up next to the City 7 location or onto the desert hill, I'm actually considering moving the archer. I'm actually considering moving that archer to City 8 and using the chariot to like fog bust this area, because the chariot can quickly go from this plains hill, could move back fairly quickly onto the corn and then into the city. So I'm actually going to do that now, because the settler from Got the Reset will be in Rajadonga on turn 78. 79 it would be here, and 80. Well, we're on 78. It could be on it could be either north of City 8 or there, so 78, 77, 78, 79. So I want to get this archer moved now to cover, to get into that onto that tile to make sure it's safe before I move the settler there. So I'm going to move. Now I could either move safely and move around the top, that'd be perfectly fine, or I can be a bit more ballsy, let's say, move onto the fort and then onto the forest, and then try to uncover some extra land so that I can actually see what these two tiles are south of the City 8 location, because there's always a chance there's a resource on these tiles. I actually want to do that. I don't think there's that much cost to it, unless I come across an axe. The arch is generally going to be okay on a forest. So I'm actually going to move on to the fort this turn. Without the workers, what is it now? I move 1, 77, 78, chop on 9, 89, 79, 80 and 81. The other one, cottage for turn, and then move on. So I can move one of these to cottage for turn, and then cancel. And the other one I've just got to burn a worker turn, because I can't get it onto the I can't get it onto that grassland forest, which is what I need to chop. So I've got to just burn that worker turn. And that's actually most of the turn that's done. There's nothing special to this one. So I'll actually get I'll have two settlers. Yeah, basically the settler from Aram Collusion and Got the Reset are both going to be are both going to be completing on different turns. Well, they'll both be on this tile with the same amount of movement points at the same time. So, well, it would be there. It could. I could actually get them there, but I'd need to road. I mean, I can move I could move worker 1 on there on 78, road on 79. Right, move it next turn when that one's there. Then he roads, and I move both settlers onto there. Then they finish roading, and they go wherever. So they both get into position. That's trivial to do. And I need these two tiles roaded anyway, so I'll do that. So now I actually need like all 4 of these tiles roaded just to give like ideal movement routes between cities. Just to go through the cities, Got the Reset obviously could either build another worker or a unit and grow, or build a barracks and grow. Working the farm rather than the lumber mill, it will grow in 5 turns just as the unhappiness wears off. Perfectly legit choice. Because there's no barracks in that city, it's not really a brilliant choice. There's not much I'd want to build there. It's not like I want to build an unpromoted chariot or an unpromoted archer. Although an unpromoted archer would be quite nice just to sit on these hills, because it's not too bad on hills. Obviously, it's an archer. So I might just do that and use that. Build an archer quickly and send it down here to fog bust a bit more. Here tomorrow big, I slave the settler next turn for 1 pop and overflow out to build a granary to regrow. With all the additional food that's coming in from and a few extra tiles, I do want to grow this city a bit. I will end up having to grow this city just because of the food it produces. And so I'm likely either going to slave it or use that food to fund 2 scientists. That's another option. I'd probably end up popping out a great scientist from this city, not after I got a great scientist for an academy, but what but I could do with that. I could do pretty much anything with that. I could fit that into a bulb strategy, or just settle it in the academy capital with a library and academy. It's not going to be too bad. I do want to finish that axe though, so I'll actually overflow out of that settler and finish that axe. I think I might do that rather than do the granary. I'll decide on the turn when I just know a bit more information. Reishidonga, I've swapped from a hill tile to the sugar. I strictly speaking don't have to. I could go even further and just work straight like food, but there's not much point doing it now. I think if I had to do 2 turns of working 8 food, I'd actually save. I'd save the full 14. 8, 16, 16 plus 18 is 30, 34. So I'd overflow out 6. I'd save the 14. I'd be at 20, needing 30 to, total, so I'd need to produce 10. I'd still grow in 2 turns. Even if I worked at another farm, I'd save 15 and overflow out 8. So I'd be at 22 food, needing 32 food. So I'd just work a ton of hammers right at the end, a ton of hills rather than farms, so that I don't waste any food growing to size 7. Because if I grow to size 7 and I've got an extra 8 food saved, growing towards size 8, that doesn't benefit me until I grow to size 8, and that's not likely to happen for a few turns. So I'd rather have the hammers now, because even though it won't change me finishing this axe, it will actually affect, I think, finishing the next unit, the next spear. Because, what is it now, 16 total, 16 save, 32, need 3. So I'd overflow out 6. Still be producing 9. So yeah, I think it ends up not helping with this. It doesn't help with this axeman, but it helps me finish the next spearman, I think, 1 turn sooner. Which could be very important, even though Pindicator's at war and he's not got the highest power in the game, and even though I have got the highest power in the game, spears are. It's more important to have spears built in a position than anything else, because spears are there to react to. You need spears so that you can defend against fast movers like horse archers and chariots that you don't have time to react to. You have fewer turns, so you need to get spears into position. Spears are like the second most important city defense unit after the archer and after the longbow. Obviously, because archers defend against and longbows, they defend against anything because of the city defense bonus. But spears, because you don't have the time to react. Whereas axes are there to defend against other axes, spears, and slow-moving units. So you've got time to build them and get them into position to whip them. So nothing special there. Again, I'll work the forest hill this turn, so that if in the 1,000,000 to 1 shot novice actually were to declare war and sit on it with a unit, I can use the cottage next turn and still finish the settler on time. After that, yeah, still carry on with the worker and normal stuff. Grow Say Baron again to size 4, double whip, grow it to size either grow it to size 3 and then work just the fish and 2 scientists, or grow it to size 4, fish and then work 2 scientists, the sheep and the fish, and then it'll grow slowly, but it will grow. Hell, it'll grow slowly even with just the fish, but it'll grow. But at size 4, working the sheep as well, it'll still be a viable city, making +4 food a turn. It could then just go and work this cottage for a bit, and potentially other cottages, a few other tiles, but not be slaved too hard. And that's pretty much the turn. Score, novice has actually just surpassed me. Again, gold, I'm GNP, I'm number 1, but I think others are saving gold at the moment, so it's not that. But it's still pretty decent considering I've got so little culture, whereas novice has got so much. Pindicator's in the middle of a war, spiritual and protective, so he's actually doing fine there. Not even close to most people. I think Scooter's actually the one. I think Scooter's second. Everyone else obviously stuck in this really tight little pack here. Vindicator's lost city. You can see people are just so tight. A lot of people just like in a really close position. Power, yeah. Commodore really does need to start thinking about building units, because I've said before that Thoth's actually going to be in a position for a quick little dirty war just to take out a few of his frontline cities and to expand the amount of land I've got access to. I think that's actually going to be. I think that's true, and I think that Thoth's actually going to be a legit target, and he might be a good target as well because long term, he's philosophically organised. Not the greatest traits in the world, but they're actually not bad at all. Not if he's given time just to sit there and make great people and not pay as much. So take out that front line is really good for me. But Commodore, if he's not going to build units, I am actually just very, very likely just to go and take a few more cities down here, Arkham, this city over here, and just integrate it. I'll just take it because it's there. And if I've got to take it at some point, I'd rather take it when it's easy and cheap to do so. There's all this to settle as well, but if Pindicator's in a war with Sadoa, if he wins this war, and I don't think, and by win I mean if he were to retake what he's lost, and shove Sadoa back, and I count that as a win, even if he does that, he's not going to have as much towards me. If on the other hand, he's not going to have as much towards me, so I've got the ability to actually take maybe an extra city site or two over here, if there's something nice. Like past the City 8 location. All this I should be able, I should have anyway. Should be able just to get that anyway. I don't think anyone's going to contest this area. If Thoth tries, and I kind of hope that he does to an extent, if Thoth tries to contend this area and settle these cities, he's going to bankrupt himself. I'm going to take horse archers and catapults, and I'm going to kill him, because he cannot defend all of that. He just cannot do that. He doesn't have the production, doesn't have the food, doesn't have the gold to afford it. So I don't see how he could contest this, and how it'd be a good idea for him. But basically, the point is that other than Novice, and that might even be a psychological block on my part, apart from Novice, I've actually got the capacity, got the ability to go and push on every single border I've got and try and get something out of it. Because Commodore's weak, Thoth's overextended. I actually don't think Novice isn't overextended per se, but his power's not that high. It's lower than Thoth's. His crop yield's a bit lower than Thoth's. He's only just settled another city. His MFG's lower than Thoth's. His GMP's better, but his GMP is better. Even if that's culture, it's still better than Thoth's. And just to look at Novice now, it's like he's actually settled 6th city, so he's just gone and settled the 6th city, yeah. So he's one city ahead of me. I obviously do seem to be falling behind, but then again, I'm going to be up to 8 cities shortly, and I'm not looking at stopping anytime soon, as well with gaining all that additional happiness from calendar. So I'll feel all those new cities I plan will mean, if I add in the gold, what am I looking at? Looking at a happy cap of size 7 outside the capital, 8 with dyes, 9 with sugar, 10 with incense, 11 with gold. I mean, and that's just without building anything. So all I need is a granary and tile improvements, and I can grow cities to be very productive, so long as they've got decent tiles to work, and they've got enough food, which all of my cities do. I mean, City 7's looking at having 2 6-yield tiles and a 3-yield tile. City 8's got an oasis, 4-yield, 5-yield, 4-food sheep, and can always take the corn for a little bit to grow just a few pop sizes, so long as I don't slave it. 5-food wheat, and for these cities down here, not too bad. Here tomorrow, Biggs, just 6, 7, 8, 9 food, so there's plenty of food in all my cities now. Again, to split them up. So yeah, there's plenty of food, so they can all make use of the happy cap just to grow. So I actually feel like this game's I think it's going okay, and I've got a lot of options open for where I plan to attack, who I plan to try and bully. to get the next advantage. Just have to see how everyone else takes it, plays out, because what I'll need to do to win is, if I take the front row off Thoth, then I don't actually need to wage much more war on him. I don't need to go and kill him. As long as I can force him back and keep him there, then I could maybe turn on to Commodore. If I just take his capital and just a few more, there's only going to be like this small little segment here that I won't have access to, but I'll have units on the front to defend on either side anyway, so I could perhaps then crush them a few dozen turns later, and I'd end up with just the whole. I just only have to defend like to the east and to the east, salient around Novice, and on Pindicator, and then around Novice again, and then on the west, whatever's over here is to finish it off. Whatever's left of Commodore and Scooter, and the border with Sadoa. So it's like so the path to victory almost would be to take out one segment of Thoth, take out a weakish area of Commodore, along with what I can already settle anyway. That should be enough land just to carry on snowballing to then take out the final chunk of Commodore and Thoth at my leisure, and then I will have so much land that I can probably force a concession just off that. I don't even need to declare on Scooter, Sadoa, Pindicator or Novice. Just taking out, I figure that I can take out those two people, and that'll be enough to get close enough to domination that people would just concede. So yeah, that's like one path to victory. That's not necessarily the path that I will definitely take. For example, the other one is just all-out war on Novice, which I could still do. Take out Miller and just push straight through, because if he's not got that deep an empire, just take out this chunk here, try and take out his wonders, his capital and that stuff, and then and just with that one bite, then stop and then reconsider. If Thoth's still weak, then I could go back and kill Thoth. If those wonders are integrated and they're nice, or if Novice is still weak, after that, just try and take him out completely. The area north and all this. And again, I'll actually be looking like I'll have a complete band almost all the way around Pindicator, just my north-south band, completely. Would be a lot harder to defend that though, even with all those hills, just to position fast movers to cover everything. And and if Pindicator does start losing against Sadoa, then there's the obvious point that I do need to push and take what I can from him while it's cheap. So yeah, that's turn 77. I'll likely be back tomorrow to finish the next turn, but because there's a war between Sadoa and Pindicator, we will not often get 2 turns a day in anymore. We might on weekends. Like, there's a possibility Pindicator plays this turn in a few hours, Sadoa plays tonight. Yeah, Pindicator plays later. Yeah, if Pindicator plays this morning, Sadoa plays later tonight, and that would be enough to let the turn roll to play another turn. But we'll likely be sticking to 1 turn a day now. So yeah, that's everything. See you guys later.